What we do here is go back.
Funny enough, like I just graduated with my bachelor's up in Colorado, and I came down to visit my dad in Laughlin, and I met with a fire inspector, ironically, and she was a woman, and she started asking me about like me playing college softball and whatnot, and she was like, have you ever considered being a firefighter? And I was like, no, no. I was going for my master's after that, so it's not anything that I ever thought about. And then she was like, you should look into it. It's super team oriented, super family oriented. It's a lot of fun. Like, I'll take you to a fire station. The guys will cook for you, and maybe you'll like it. So she did that, and it is everything she kind of said it was going to be. And since I played college sports, like I think that I was like yearning for more of like a team oriented, like family-based job, and I get that here. Like I get to hang out with some of my best friends every day, and it's a blast. So that's kind of how I got into it. I went to EMT school after I got my master's, came back, got my EMT certification, and then started testing. And luckily, I tested once and got hired on here, and it's been the best 2 years, like ever. It's so fun. When I think about like civilians in our job, I think about like when we're called to a fire or medical emergency, it's probably that person's worst day, right? So like if your house is burning to the ground, that's a pretty crappy day. Or if you don't feel good and you feel like you are so sick that you needed to go to the hospital, that's not a good day, right? Like that's your worst day. So for me, like I think that they expect us to show up and serve our community. That's what our job is to serve the community. So whether we're having a really busy, bad day and the patient before wasn't the kindest or wasn't the easiest or was just like a rough call, the next patient, or the next call, you're expected to still be kind and compassionate and understanding, and you're expected to do your job. So I think that they expect what I guess people portray a firefighter to be, right? They want you to be their hero, their ray of sunshine on a crappy day. So I think that's kind of what they expect. And that's what, I try to be. I know that's what my, I feel like LVFR tries to be for the community, is just you try to bring the best, 100% of what you have that day, because that's what they expect. They don't know that you didn't sleep all night. They don't know that you're running 48-hour shifts, or if you're on a 72. It's day one, hour one for each patient, and that's the expectation. You have to be fit to be a firefighter, like we had talked about earlier, right? Like we carry around 75 pounds of uncomfortable gear. It is not a weighted vest, it is not distributed evenly, your shoes are not comfortable, your turnouts are not comfortable. So you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you're literally in a human sauna suit when you're fighting fire, and you are expected to perform your job because the community expects you to perform. So when somebody needs help, or you got to pull somebody out of a burning building, or you got to help your partner breach a wall or open a door or pull a charged hose line, it doesn't matter like how small you are, if you're a woman, if you're a man, or if you're 300 pounds or 110 pounds, you're expected to do the job. So you have to be fit, you have to be strong in order to do this job. Probation's tough. So you're 6 months after you graduate. you're a rookie, you know nothing, you have no experience like whatsoever, and you're put at a station with new people, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of stimulus, it's a lot of expectations from people that have 10, 20 years on that you're gonna ride with, and they expect you to be their partner and like do your job the same way that they do their job, even though you don't have any experience. And I think my hardest day, I had a really, really awesome captain up at Station 6 where I did probation. And I remember there were just like one particular day where he tested me physically and mentally, stressed me to my max capacity. And I was just sitting there in my mask, sweating, out of air, destroyed. And you want to quit, but you can't. And those are the hard days when you feel like you have nothing left mentally because you've been trained for 48 hours and then it's 9 o'clock at night and my captain's like, hey, we're gonna go do truck training, and you're like, oh my God. You have to think about, it's not just training. Like they're putting you in the worst case scenario. They're putting you you have 0% left, you're running out of air, you are exhausted, you're on no sleep. But what happens when we get a 4 bell, so fire comes out, and you got to perform, you got to go save somebody, you got to help somebody. So they're putting you in that worst case scenario, so that way you are able to perform. And I mean, I think all of us can have been there, and that's the job, right? That's our captain's job during probation, is to put you in a physical and emotional state where you just feel like you have nothing left to give, and you still have to give. And it's a great learning lesson because you just learn that you have so much more than you ever thought you had. So, I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. I think of Vegas Strong as like that day our community was just tested, and it was so chaotic that day. Like, you have people running in 70 different directions. You don't have nearly enough resources. The ERs are overwhelmed. Trauma is overwhelmed. And like, we got to figure it out. So when I think of Vegas Strong, I think of community. Like, and people forget that. Like, we remember it one day out of the year, but it should be something that we remember every day. That like October 1 is always going to be, you know, a historical day for us. And when I think of Vegas Strong, I think that of community, like love, togetherness, like understanding and compassion, helping a random stranger, because that's what people did that day, right? But we don't do that every day. So that's what I think about when I think of Vegas Strong. Like, I think of community. I mean, it's so easy for me to talk positive because my experience has been nothing but positive. Since I started, I only had 4 girls in my academy. We started with 30 people. And my experience, those guys were super, super supportive, and they didn't view me as like weaker or less, I don't know, not able to do the job. I would just tell a little girl or a woman or a teenager that was trying to pursue this career that you have to think about, like, what are you doing when nobody's watching? This was a brand new career for me. I wasn't raised like to know what tools were, or how to use a chainsaw, or what a K-12 was, or what positive pressure ventilation was. And I just think that if I were to tell a woman to do this job, like, you have to work 10 times harder than you think you have to work, because respect is everything. And if you bust your butt, people respect those who work hard. So if you are trying to learn this job, or it's brand new to you, like, you need to just commit and work hard. Like, because some of these people, they come from construction backgrounds or fire families, and I didn't have that. So I spent a lot of my time studying and picking the brains of other people, and I tried to find mentors. Like one of my best friends works for Henderson, and I picked his brain on a ton of stuff. So just try to use your resources, work really hard, and always do more than you think you need to do, because it's only going to make you better and make you a better candidate for this job. And it's the best job in the world.